In today's news, despite the legal trauma caused by the tyrannical SEC, despite the SEC trying all they can to halt institutional adoption of crypto and of course of XRP, these institutions evidently right now they simply just don't care anymore. Seemingly nobody cares about the opinions of this SEC, and this has been made apparent through various sources and various pieces of media, from Congress to now mainstream media outlets. All of them right now are discrediting the agency's ability to regulate crypto assets. This here is very big news. This just in, Canary Capital has now filed for an Xrp Etf. This is very big news and another addition to the ever-growing sentiment right now that markets are preparing for an Xrp Etf. As we can see from Anderson here, on September 12th, Grayscale opened an XRP trust, which usually leads to ETFs. So we could expect Grayscale soon enough to file for an XRP Etf. Then last week on October 2nd, Bitwise filed for an XRP ETF, and then yesterday Canary Capital filed for their XRP ETF. And then there are so many other developments, so many more sentiments supporting the case of an imminent XRP ETF as well. For example, Ripple Swell will happen in just 1 week, less than 1 week from now, where crypto ETFs will be on the agenda. And at this event, the media partner of Ripple Swell is Bloomberg, and their senior ETF analyst Eric Balchunas will be attending. And also, the Bitwise CEO Hunter Horsley will be featured, which will be exactly 2 weeks after they file for an XRP ETF. For me, that is just a massive coincidence. Very, very big news. But then, think back a few months before that, you will hear on multiple occasions Ripple CEO Brad Garlinghouse openly commenting that he would be happy to welcome for an XRP ETF, and that we can definitely expect more ETFs to come out in the future. But then more importantly, BlackRock CEO Larry Fink was asked about the potential for an XRP ETF on Fox News, to which he simply refrained from commenting on the matter. See, now in my mind eye, if there is no intention to launch an XRP ETF from BlackRock, they simply would just say no, right? That makes sense to me. Like, if Larry Fink was to be asked, will you file for a Mudeng meme coin ETF, he would obviously say no, right? I mean, he might even be a little bit offended that someone asked such a ridiculous question, but he took silence. And I take silence as quiet confirmation, in my opinion. And then, of course, at the other side of the spectrum as well, there have been many people who have been very vocal about the potential for XRP ETFs. For example, flashback to the beginning of this year in January, when Valkyrie CEO Stephen McClure made a prediction about possible XRP ETF filings. Listen closely.
I think we're going to see a lot of filings come out for Ethereum. I even think we might see something for Ripple, given the recent progress. You notice that Grayscale just added Ripple to one of their trusts. It's publicly traded. So it wouldn't surprise me if we saw Ripple or Ethereum spot ETFs out there. I really don't know if we're going to do that or not. I think those are more retail plays and people have other ways to access them. But given that this market, anything could happen, anything could happen.
Safe to say that his prediction was definitely very, very right. We are now seeing the institutional sentiment around XRP growing every single day, and in some cases, some even believe that Bitcoin ETFs may be a one and done game, but you can't assume the same for other coins. The XRP ETF would be a unique case in my opinion. Take a close listen to this Bloomberg interview.
We've already got ETFs for Ethereum. It makes sense that regulators would approve other large coins as well, right?
No, we don't know that, especially because this is the 7th largest coin. There's a Solana filing, and then it was pulled out, and we have Bloomberg Intelligence, James Seyfarth, saying it was dead on arrival because the SEC is still really kind of against this. They're kind of skeptical, and actually this filing comes against the backdrop of two things. Number one, it comes after a judge ordered Ripple to pay $125 million after improperly selling their tokens as a fraction of the $2 billion SEC wanted. And number two, it comes against the U.S. presidential elections just a month away, and we know that the Republicans are viewed as more friendly towards crypto, so we also have people saying issuers will follow suit if the Republican president becomes the president.
Do people want this? Is this the type of thing that people are clamoring for the way they were clamoring for Bitcoin ETFs?
It's never going to be the same degree because the Bitcoin ETFs are really just a field of its own. I mean, even with flows, we have 18 billion in that. Ether is not even seeing inflows, it's net outflows. But still, you can't deny that ETFs are easy to trade. I mean, it's the 7th largest token. We have the Solana filing. You know what the 8th largest token is?
What is it?
Dogecoin.
Of course.
So that can be the next. I don't know.
So
but
is there a Doge filing for an
Not
ETF?
yet.
Not yet.
I'm going to have to write that up if it happens. But who knows? We have Elon Musk still a big proponent of Dogecoin. But it really just shows how issuers are testing this ETF wrapper. I mean, basically anything could be ETF, even private markets. That's not approved yet, but people are really trying out. And you could see here that they're pushing the limits of the SEC.
Well, and it would make sense as well to be able to diversify crypto, a broader crypto ETF, right? One that could hold Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana and Dogecoin and also Ripple.
There is that. You can diversify. I mean, for now, Bitcoin, the oldest and the most mature. When the conflict in Iran blew up, it was muted. So where's the hedge that people were looking for? So I think this is really, in the sense, space. Even the oldest coin is still not behaving as the way that proponents want it to behave.
Well,
so
that's arguable, right? Because when we went into the pandemic and the government started spending like a drunken sailor, the value of Bitcoin went up. I would say that's because people were worried about inflation.
Okay, fair. But the fact that it doesn't have a solid narrative
True.
is indicative of like how new it is.
Okay, very briefly, we're speaking of Bitcoin, the Bitcoin ETFs. You mentioned flows. Just give us an update a few months on how they're doing and what you're seeing.
It's great. We're seeing a net inflow of 18 billion. They've broken record after record, but I think the important thing is how Ether is not seeing that. So Bitcoin could be a one and done game, and you can't assume the same for other coins.
Now, there is some truth and some food for thought in what Isabel Lee from Bloomberg stated here. Ethereum has not done well, Solana didn't even take off, and Bitcoin has underperformed. Now, considering we are nearing all-time highs in crypto and Bitcoin right now, I'll disagree with the last sentiment, but ultimately, why has ETFs been underwhelming, if you will? It's a lack of regulatory clarity in the United States. So ultimately, once the SEC fixes their act, that's when we'll start seeing an overwhelming amount of money, trillions upon trillions of dollars flood into this space. As Isabel Lee stated, a catalyst for the Xrp ETFs is likely the incoming election, where should Trump win, we will very likely see the reforming of the SEC and acceleration of crypto adoption. This is precisely why I am so bullish even now on crypto and XRP, why I still believe that this will be a once in a lifetime opportunity to become very, very rich, which is why I created a free to join Discord server. 380 of us right now are working towards achieving financial freedom, spreading knowledge, building our knowledge, and alpha where we can. So if you want to join, then click the link in the description below, because we are very, very early. But now to circle back to the Bloomberg interview once again, the next question would be, why would an XRP ETF be any different from the rest of them? Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana, the so-called failures, if you will. Why would XRP be any different? If the legal regulatory clarity bestowed upon XRP, and XRP alone, the only asset in existence. Here we can see Meta Lawman break it down why XRP is not an investment contract, something to keep in mind the court of the law have recognized and granted XRP nobody else. But that is not all. That is not the only thing that sets XRP above the rest. It's also their institutional use case and institutional demand. As we can see from Chad Steingarber here, Ripple was recently named Platinum winner by Juniper Research for the best cross-border payments platform, which is a very, very big deal. And they are also part of a project aiming to shape international standards, which is managed by the Mojo Loop Foundation. Launched 4 years ago, members include central banks, financial services, and tech companies like Google, Coil, and Ripple, as well as philanthropies such as the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation and the Rockefeller Foundation, the biggest of the best in the world. There is a new financial system incoming that is going to be using XRP. As documented here, settlement between institutions will move to new instantaneous payment mechanisms, and international transfer will migrate to new peer-to-peer crypto-based solutions like XRP. This is why an XRP ETF is unique and had the potential to outperform the rest of them. And this is where we're going to see trillions flood into XRP and its value will soar to the moon. So do your own research, come chill chat and learn more on the free Discord server. Get links below, but remember, don't look short term, think long term, and I'll see you in the next one.